he builds a fence. Did we not hit record?
No, you did.
Apparently not.
You're recording.
No, in the beginning you were recording.
Yeah, you're
No,
recording.
I
You're
think-
still recording.
No, I think it
Yep.
stopped after Mishnayos.
No.
Stop. Nobody hit record.
Yes, he's right, Peretz. Shoot. Okay, I'll have to redo it.
Do we have to start again?
We won't start it again, but I'll do it again later. And we'll go for those that want to that want the daf later. I'll tell them put their money where their mouth is because I'm gonna do it again.
Okay.
You know what? Let's back it up to the Gemara at least. Yeah, thank you, Peretz.
Yeah, you can start something. Yeah, you can start right after the Mishnah.
Yeah, we'll start. Okay, go back to the Gemara and Aleph. I'm sorry about that. Okay, Savrua. So again, so we're saying Savrua. We thought my mechitza. What is a mechitza? Guda means a wall. Okay, the time like learned by some mechitza sakerem shenivra. So you have a mechitza of a vineyard that fell down. Armalois Gedar, and the owner told him, meaning the neighbor told him, fix your fence. So again, this is talking about a client. You have your grapes, and next door has, let's say, wheat, and you got to have a fence. If you have a fence, even if they're right up against the fence, it's not considered client, right? So, but if the fence falls down, you got to pick it back. You got to fix it. So the fence fell down. He told him to fix it. Chazra v'nifritza. If he went back, then it fell down. He fixed it, then it fell down again. Chazra v'nifritza fell down again. Armor guitar. So you tell the guy with the vineyard, let it fall down. Not it fell down, pick it up. It fell down again. You got to fix it. On to my base now. If they were miyayish, and he didn't, meaning the owner of the grape vines, whatever, was miyayish, and he doesn't build it, then harei zakidish. Then if it grows 1/200th together, that makes klayim, and therefore he's going to be chayiv achriyusa. Since the guy should have built the fence, he's going to be chayiv in the achrayus. Okay, so you see that mechitza is meant to be a fence to block things. Now, time of the ratzu.
Asking like Rabbi Yehuda.
The Yehuda what?
What's 1/200th? I thought it's min b'minai.
No, for klayim it's 1/200th.
You min b'she'enei minai?
Yes, that's the whole point.
No, I thought the 1/200th was something that's already asr in kilayim. It falls b'minai. It asks 1/200.
No. Klayim.
No, it means it grows 1/200th.
If it grows
Close enough. It doesn't actually have to mix.
Yeah.
That's the growth that happens. So now the Gemara saying time of the Ratzu. The reason is because they wanted, right? Haloi Ratzu, but if they did not want, meaning if one of them did not want a wall, Ein Mechayiv, and I said we're not Mechayiv. Alma Hezek Ria Lav Shmei Hezek. So we see from this that Hezek of Ria is not considered Hezek. So again, that's what we were talking about. There's something called damaging by seeing, meaning let's say you have two neighbors and a guy builds a pool in his backyard, right? And he builds a fence, obviously for tznius purposes. Then the neighbor decides he's building up a second floor. Now he just lost his pool because he's going to have all the people looking out from the second floor over his fence. So the shaila is that considered you're damaging him? Essentially, you're damaging him. So what we look at in order to figure out if this is an issue or not is that the norm? Is it not the norm? We'll get to that over the next today and tomorrow's daf, exactly what Hezekriya is. But the point is if we did hold of Hezekriya, then everybody would be forced to chip in to the fence. You'd be forced to chip in. Right now, I'll tell you, it happened by me. My neighbors, because I have 3 neighbors. I have one in the back and one on each side. They all got fed up. Nobody ever asked me if I wanted to build a fence. Each one of them built their own fence. Mamela, I got free fencing. Right? I mamish had it. This is mamish what I had. Nobody
What'd
asked
they get
me.
fed up with?
Probably the Steins. I can imagine. You can imagine that, no?
No.
Okay. But I can imagine some people would get a little bit annoyed. They say, oh, we need a fence from these people. Right? So, but the bottom line is not the minig, and they're not the minig to have fences, especially big white plastic ones. But as they say, it is what it is. But the point is that if it's a place that's expected for you to have tznius, and a
Let
guy
me
comes
ask-
and he takes
let
away
me
your
ask you a question.
tznius, then it's a problem.
Your mother in the back had the pool. Could you force the neighbors? Could she force the neighbors to put up? Why not?
No, because it's not the norm in our neighborhood to have a pool, and the norm is to have 2-story floors, right? If it was, let's say, Phoenix, where most of the houses are 1 floor, so that could be you'll have a taina. Could be. I don't know. I don't. The chashimish, but very difficult to paskin. But that's what it's going to be totally in, right? If the minig of everybody there is to have a 1 floor, and then some guy decides to build a second floor, then it's not right. Then it's not right.
Yeah, but you didn't do anything. Your mother didn't do anything. She built in her backyard a pool.
Right. So then she did that at her own risk.
Uh-huh.
Right. She did that.
And she could build a wall, but she can't force the neighbors to pay for it.
Correct.
Even though there's a hazard, if they look.
Yeah, but they were there. They were there first, right? They were there first, and
if the house came with a pool first, your mother's house came with a pool first, and she was there before everybody else, she could.
I'm not sure because it's the norm in this neighborhood to have 2-floor houses.
Yeah.
Right, so since it's the norm to have 2 houses, you decide to put up a pool, so put yourself up a 2-story mechitza. Again, I'm just throwing out the basics of the thing. I'm not pasking. I have no idea. There was a guy on the staff that had this issue with the pool. A couple, actually 2. I don't know if they're always on, but that are involved. But
2 pools?
Two different people had this issue.
Jacob, what do they say in the
Yes,
Mishpacha magazine? What do we say in the Mishpacha magazine? The names have been withheld to protect the identities.
That's right, exactly. Well, I don't have to take identities. It's just privacy. It's just plain old privacy, right? But anyways, okay. So then the Gemara says. So now we're saying a mechitza means a fence, fine, or a wall, a fence. The Gemara asks, "Be'em mechitza plukta." Maybe a mechitza doesn't mean a fence. Maybe it means just a division. I'm gonna have my side of the fence, and you're gonna have yours. And it says this is talking about when they after Midian they took over, right? So they were giving out the land. You see, mechza sa'eda. So that's a mechitza. So they each one split up and got their own land. And since they wanted it, meaning since they both want to have a mechitza, okay, so then we force them to put up a mechitza, right? Alma. So according to that, if you force somebody to put up a mechitza, then hezekriya shmei hezek, then damaging with hezekriya is a hezek. So Gemara says, ihachi, but if it's taka, if it means that a mechitza is just a divide, haisharatzu lasis mechitza. What do you say in the Mishnah? They want to make a mechitza. It's not that they want to make a mechitza. Sharatzu lachtzais mibayle. It should say they just want to split it. Each one wants to have their own place. So elamai guda. So what must it be? A wall? Bainin asakaisel. Bainin aisami bayle. Why do you have to say they build a wall? Just say they build it, because you already said that they want a wall. If you're saying mechitza means guda, so why are you saying that? They want to build a mechitza, so they build a wall. If you're saying that the word mechitza means wall, so you don't have to say, you say build it, right? Meaning if somebody asks you, should I build you a wall? Do you want to build a wall? So you say, yes. Yes, build it, right? That's, I think, the way normally people answer. They don't answer, yes, build the wall, right? Just build it. So that's what Gemara is asking. So Gemara says, Itana Oisai. If it would have just said, I say have a mean of the masifas ba'alma. So what we would have thought build it means masifas is just with like a do not trespass or do not enter. Right? That would be enough. Yeah, you could force the guy to do a do not enter, but that's it. Kamash Malan, Kaisel. So therefore it says Baina with the Mechitza, Baina Kaisel to tell you that you want it with you need to build a real wall. My mother-in-law told me that the Chafetz Chaim, when her mother was the Chafetz Chaim's daughter. My mother-in-law's mother was Chafetz Chaim's daughter. So when they got married, they lived in the attic upstairs in the Chafetz Chaim. The Chafetz Chaim, as it's known, used to go do his spider-dis in the attic. He used to go do tshuva and yell at himself and do mussar and all that. So what he did is he put either tape or he painted on the floor which side belongs to his daughter and his son-in-law and which side is his. That was the mechitza. And the reason he did that is he says because if you don't make boundaries, you end up fighting. Ends up being there's no clarity. That's why when you're making a business partnership, which we'll see, we've seen it already in Bava Kama, Bava Matziva, we'll see in Bava Basra a lot also. It makes machlokes. You always want to have you want to lay down the terms. So that was his mechitza. He made it like this is yours, this is mine.
For what? For what? I don't understand. For what?
What do I mean? So that they don't say, you're coming up onto my part, and the other ones would say you're coming to my part. No, this is yours, this is mine. Let's put it all on the table to make it that we don't fight. Okay, so now the Gemara.
Why is the use of the word mechitza not in question here? Why does it just say Hashut fin Shirotzu Las's Kaisel or Livno's Kaisel?
What do you want it to say?
Hashut fin Shirotzu Livno's Kaisel.
As opposed to what?
Hashut fin Shirotzu Las's Mechitza.
I don't know. I hear he wants you asking that way, so then.
Yeah, why not ask the other way?
I hear you. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, right. So now we get into Hezekriya. So Bainin is a kaisel be'emtza. So you build the kaisel in the middle, right? If you have both partners want to build the wall, so you build it in the middle. Givaldik. So Gemara says pshita. Of course you build it in the middle. Well, what else would it be? Right? Meaning why one guy they're both building it for their own gain. They should build it on one guy's side. So Gemara says one of them went first, and he had to ratzia mean from the word ritzei. He had to go, convince his friend to build the fence. When did I agree with you? Right? So because you with the aver with the air, meaning you didn't want me to see what you were doing in your yard. So you asked me if I'll chip in for a fence. So I said yes, but all I wanted was a minimal fence so that to make sure that I can't see into your yard. The tashmish the lo, right? But with using the yard, right? I wasn't giving you the right to build this thick wall that's going to take away my yard. Right? That I wasn't willing to do. And again, when he said to him, can we build a fence for privacy? He says, yeah, Givaldik. So now he said, okay, I agreed to a 1-inch thick fence. Now you want me to build a 5 tefachim fence that's so thick, I'm losing a foot of my yard. I'm not interested in doing that. Kamash Malan. So the chiddush of the Mishnah is no. Once he agreed to build a wall, then they have to build a wall, a regular stone wall or whatever the minhag Medina is, and that's what he has to chip in for. Fine. Now we get into Hezekriya. So Gemara asks, Hezekriya loishmei Hezek is because we had two views before. One said that Hezekriya is considered a damage, and then one said Hezekriya is not a damage. So Gemara is asking, Hezekriya is not a Hezek? And the Gemara is going to go through a bunch of different examples where it thinks that Hezekriya is not a damage, is a damage, right? The Tashma Apechein Begina, right from our Mishnah. What does our Mishnah say? It says the same thing by a garden, right? That when you have a garden, you can force the person next to you to chip in for the fence. Because in a garden, I guess people hang out there, right? So Mamela, I don't think garden means necessarily that you're planting things there. It's just someplace that people hang out. So since people hang out, it's a normal thing for privacy to put up a fence. So why should you be able to force a guy to put up a fence? Must be because Hezekriya, Ishmei Hezek. So the Gemara says, Gina Shani Kedirav. No, you can't bring any proof that there's such a thing as Hezekriya. Maybe you can force a guy to put up a fence between your garden and his garden. It's Kedirav Abba, Amar Rav Abba, Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav, Asal Adam Lamed Besada Chaveroi, Bishashi Yemedis Become. So we had this in Bava Metzia. This is a pretty scary line, that it's also for a person to stand and look at his friend's yard or things that grow. Right? So I guess here now the Gemara is saying that it is referring to a garden where there are things growing. Meaning a person is not allowed to stare at somebody else's profits because we're afraid he's going to be jealous. He's going to cause him to have an ayin hara, and then it will damage him. The ayin hara will damage him. And doing an ayin hara.
What does it mean, Hezekriya and ayin hara?
What do you mean?
What's Hezekriya?
No, Hezekriya is just a lack of privacy.
How's that a Hezek though?
Because it's not so simple why that's called a Hezek. But
it sounds like from Rashi it's an ayin hara thing, but if you look in the Ramban says because you're manea the guy from using his yard. I don't want to use my yard when you're going. I can't go outside and use my pool. Everybody's staring in my yard. So that's a Hezek.
At best, it's a grumma.
I think that's why it's a machlokes. Is that considered a Hezek or not?
Even if it is a Hezek, it's a grumma.
Why is it a grumma? I'm looking into your yard and you can't use your yard now.
That's a grumma.
Why is it a grumma?
Because I'm not directly stopping you from using your yard.
Why not? I can't use my yard because I don't want you looking into when I go swimming.
Okay, that's your problem. That's not Hezek.
No,
that's not me.
I think that's
not
for the
my
Shaila. I
problem.
think that might be why it's a machlokes because it's not. So
I don't hear that as a Hezek.
Really, if you want to walk around, and you're on the. I'm saying
because you're bothered by something that's my problem. That's at best a grumma.
I don't think this is. Okay.
Gershon, be machriya. Who's right?
I don't know, but the rabbi didn't like this conversation.
Okay.
Akiva, why is it any different than somebody making too much noise or something smells bad? It's the same thing.
You're right.
Doesn't it?
The question is
that's also it would be the same.
That there's a monetary damage, there's a value to the damage. Here there is no value to the damage, but it is a damage.
I don't even know if it's a damage.
It's not a grumma. You're directly causing this guy not to be able to use his own property. That's a damage. The question is, what's the value?
The value is I can't use my yard anymore.
So what are you going to check? If you go to Bezdin, what are the Bezdin going to charge him? There's no value to put to it.
No, there's a value. I want you to put up a 12-foot tree.
That's not a value to the damage. That's a way to.
Of course, there's a value. The property's worthless now. If they want to sell your property and you can't,
it's not worthless. You find something else to use it for.
You have a pool back there. You can't use it.
So you can't go to the pool. Close up the pool and do something else with it.
What do you mean? I put in $100,000. I put $100,000 into the pool. It damaged me. I can't use the pool anymore.
Okay, that much is a grumma. The value of the pool. That's definitely a grumma. The question is the lack of ability to use. That's what Akiva is calling a grumma. I disagree with that. That's not a grumma.
Whatever you want, you could use it for something else, and then you don't have a time on me. So that's the grumma. Like you go use it for something else that you won't need privacy for.
Right. So
the rabbi's trying to get a word in.
I'm not trying to get a word in.
You were trying.
No, I don't know where I got cut off.
I know. Then you came back and you were trying to say something.
No, I wasn't. I don't know where I got cut off.
Still with Akiva's question.
Tiago, please don't
Oh.
fight with Larner whether or not you were trying to say something. Larner knows better than you what you were trying to do.
What were you saying? What you whether this whole damage is a grama, what by the Klayim or Hezekriya?
No,
No,
I was
Hezekriya.
saying that it's mashra from Rashi that it's for ayin hara, but the Ramban says that you're monea the guy from using his yard. I can't use my pool now because you're looking into my yard. So it sounds like that's the hezek.
Part?
Rashi is talking
Which
about
part?
the case of Kaimasa. I'm not talking
Right, so
about
I don't
that
know
case.
if that apply. I don't know if that's specific to that case or Rashi holds every single hezekriya is ayin hara.
No,
I don't
that's
know.
that case. That's the difference.
Yeah, but the
The
Gemara is
case
trying to
of
bring a riot
Kaimasa is ayin
hezekriya
hara.
from this brisa.
That's only by Kaimasa because you're directly destroying my thing through Ainara.
Right, but the Gemara is trying
Hezekriya
to.
is not Kaimasa. The Gemara is being
But-
machalik right now. The Gemara
I
is
was
saying
saying
only by
Dafka over
Kaimasa
there is
there's a
ayin
thing
hara,
like
but in
that.
general it's not. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
But that means
Okay.
that regular hezekriya is being monea the guy from using his yard.
Correct. Hence my question. It's a grumma. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, the
Okay,
whole
yeah,
thing, this whole
that's a
thing.
fair
Once you bring
question.
Grum into this, Akiva, forget it, man.
I think
Yeah,
maybe that's why the Manda Amar says it's not Shmei Hezek, because you can't call it a Hezek just to me preventing you from using something. Is that called a Hezek or not?
Right.
Well, you can say for a few reasons. You can also say Hezek Shein and Nicker. It might be a Hezek Shein and Nicker. It's
Right.
right. Separate issue. You can say for a lot of reasons.
I don't understand. You just put in a pool for $100,000, and now you can't use it. So why is that a damage?
It's not my problem. Don't put in a pool that you need the privacy. Nobody says everyone has to have a pool.
You're telling me what I can do in my yard?
You could do whatever you want, but you can't come to me and say
you can't go.
You're ruining my
onto other
privacy.
people.
Let's say your pool requires a 20-foot tree. Can I now go ahead and tell you have to split a 20-foot tree with me? Because of the privacy, you can only have that with a 20-foot tree? What do you mean? I put in $100,000 pool. Of course you should have to split it on trees that are able to block out the view.
So it depends who was there first? No, it depends.
No, it's probably going to want them. That's the mission.
Right. You have to take all of it into. You take all of it into
Yeah,
account.
and it depends.
Okay.
It depends on the Minhag Medina. Like the Gemara is going to say, like people on their roofs, they didn't really use their roofs so much. So over there, you don't need as much of a fence.
Correct. Okay, let's see. Just a Toshima. Next raya. Kaisel Chatzah Shenafel is a very big aside from this that Ramesh finds in. Let's first the Gemara. Let's first on the Gemara. Kaisel Chatzah Shenafel. You have a kaisel of a chatzah that fell down, right? Meaning there was already an existing wall there. He could force his friend. He says, I want it up to Dalet Amas. What is that? A minimum 6 feet. Well, minimum 4 feet and change. Chazanish is close to 8 feet. But let's say about 6 feet would be the average. Right? Why? So because that's the normal height. That will stop people from looking, because that's higher than the normal average height person. Tomorrow says, so you see that we're worried about Hezekriya. The Gemara answers Nafal Shani, falling is different. Right, falling is different because once it was there already, so now you're mechuyev to put it up, but not necessarily can you force somebody to put it up. I'm pretty sure this is one of the Gemaras that Ramosha bases his heter for mechitza. I think I meant to look it up. Right, Ramosha has the famous tshuva. No, maybe this is the kasha on this tshuva. I didn't. I was running upstate, so I didn't look it up. Not an excuse, but right. So Ramosha's famous tshuva is that you're allowed to see over a mechitza as the main reason for a mechitza is to separate men and women, not that the men shouldn't look at the women. Avada, they shouldn't be looking at the women, but that's not the point of the mechitza. That's why you could have, like in the white shul, you could have the women upstairs, even though you could see them, because that at least stops the men from mixing with the women, and because men with women they're not going to be able to daven properly. But if you just because you see them, it's fine. But I think Ramosha gets involved with this 4 amas mechitza business. I don't remember now, but yeah. Fine. So then the Gemara says, "The karila, my karila." It's like a phrase. It's hard to touch. To ka'arila, my ka'arila means, what was he thinking? Meaning, what was your question? It's pashut that a wall that fell down is different than a wall that you want to put up in the first place. No. So when it's a safe, it's usually we need the safer. What we're trying to tell you is that yes, you can force him to put up a mechitza, but only up to Dalar Amas. But let's say the wall was 15 feet high, then it fell down. You can only force the neighbor to build up to 4 feet, no more than that. Okay, so then another proof. We force each person. See, back then people lived in a chutzner, right? You had a bunch of people and they all shared a common courtyard, right? So you can force everybody to chip in to make a doorway with a door for the chutzner, right? So why? Because you didn't want the people looking in. So everybody, meaning till now we've been talking about, people, neighbors within a chutzner putting up a fence or something like that. This is talking about everybody from the chutzner putting up a fence to stop people from looking and or coming inside. So you can force everybody. So you see, if you could force everybody, so then hezek is called a hezek. So my answer says, the rabbim shani. Damage of the rabbim is different, right? So meaning that's worse. You don't want your whole chutzner to be rishus harabim. So mamela you can force everybody to chip in. So the Gemara says with the yachid loy, and the yachid is not a problem. Meaning if one person's looking in your yard, it's not a problem. Tashema ein chalkin nesachatza. You can't force somebody to split up a chutzner. Let's say it was a Yerusha, and the Yerusha was a 6 amos. So you can't force them to split up the yard. You'd have to just be combined with each other. So you have 4 amos for this one, 4 amos for this one. But mashma that if each partner would split the field, each one would get 4 amos. Then chalkin, then you'd split it. My love, now chalkin, what does it mean they would split it? Bekaisel, don't you mean with a wall? So you see that we are worried. Why do you need a wall? So each one could have his privacy. Right? So the Gemara says, like we said on the top. Maybe, no, you don't have to put up a wall. You could just put up a line of demarcation, like a marker, or like a do not trespass sign, and that would be enough to split it. Okay, so another one, Toshima. And this one not exactly this case, but this could also come up. Meaning your guy builds a new house next to his friend and he aligns the windows, mamish right across from the other guy's windows. So that could be, that's also a common case of hezek re'iyah, right? What are you making your windows directly across? That's why home builders, as far as I know, will stagger the windows, right? And so then the same thing, that the Yidden don't make the doors of the houses across from each other because you don't want to be able to see into each other's houses, which is quite, I was just thinking about it. This is the day that everybody's moving upstate, where everybody's sharing and you hang out all your dirty laundry and there's no privacy whatsoever. And this is the day. I don't know what to do with that. It's interesting that today's one of the Exodus day upstate. Yeah.
I can give you Adis on this one firsthand.
The what?
I'm saying I had this firsthand that I made every single window not be able to. I built my neighbor's house. There's not one window that can see into either yard.
Right. Oh, you mean yeah. It's pretty good that you did that. Yeah. Right. So that's really what the proper thing is to do. Okay, so Toshima, so now let's see. Hachalainas, windows, bein bilamala, bein bilamata, whether they're above or below, ubein mekanegdan, or opposite dalit amas. Meaning you have to have more than dalit amas between the window and the wall. All right? Meaning, if a guy built a wall, and it's going to be opposite somebody's windows. So whether the wall finishes above the guy's windows, below the guy's windows, or opposite. It has to be. You need at least 4 amas distance. Why? V'tani Allah. We learned this. Milamala. This one I didn't understand. If the wall is going on top of the windows, kidei shelo yotzitz v'yira. Why? Because the guy's going to go on top of the wall, and he's going to lower himself to see by the window. But 4 amas is already longer than the normal height of a person, so we're not worried about that. Milamaton, and if the wall ends below that, but on this, so the top one, I don't understand. What are we talking about? A trapeze guy? We have to be worried about that. So there's the other ones I understand. Milamaton, if the wall ends below, kadei shelo yamid v'yira, shelo yamid v'yira. So a guy might stand on the wall and look into his neighbor's windows. Okay, that you understand. Mikanegdon, and opposite, kadei shelo yafil. You don't want to make it. You don't want to be making the neighbor's house dark by taking a wall and building it within an amma of the person's window. So then now you just took away all his sunlight, which is another one of the big fights. When you build a house next to somebody else's house, you take away the sunlight. How that works in Brooklyn, I have no idea. Right? Because I mean, they're certainly not makbid on this in Brooklyn. So either way, so Gemara says, this is not a hezekriya issue. This is a hezek of the house. Right? Meaning why? Because in a house, Rashi says, the Adam in this house is expected to do things b'tznius that he wouldn't do in the public. So Mameli, you go and build a fence and take away the privacy of his house. That's not allowed. It doesn't, but that doesn't mean that something that's normally done in a yard that you're worried about. Right? That's a different story.
Maybe that's the answer in Brooklyn. Why by a house? We don't. This has a Korea. It doesn't apply.
I mean, okay, but it's you're blocking. Yeah, but the sunlight is a big thing.
Forget about it. In Borough Park, you open up one window, you can hand it to the next house in the next window.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
In Borough Park, it's literally a foot and a half. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I don't know. I'm not sure what the heter is for all that, but I don't know. I'll try.
Maybe they put the windows. Maybe they put the windows in different places.
Listen, they have different mechitzas over there. You know, the air works over there. It's different than everywhere else.
All right, let's stop getting cynical about
well, because it's one big family, Akiva, right?
Yeah, they need a chutzah, exactly. They need like air chatzeres, not the air.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, right. This is Toshima. One more raya. Toshima, Domer of Nachman, Omer Shmuel, Gag, Hasamach, L'chotzer. This is mamash the pool case right here. If you have a roof that's close to the chotzer of your friend, if you decide to start using your roof, you have to build a fence so that you can't see into your neighbor's chotzer. Right? This is besides for the din of Micah that you have to do for safety purposes. Right? So so you can't see into your friend's chotzer. When you're working on your roof, you might look in and see your friend's chotzer. Right? So you see what we're worried about hezekriya. Well, answer Shani Asam Damrale Balachotzer Balagag. There the Balachotzer tells the Balagag the Didi Kviyali Tashmishi. For me, I'm always in my chotzer. Right? So and that's a normal thing to do. So I know when I'm in the chotzer, I know when you're in your chotzer, etc., etc. That's normal. But for you, like it's not a normal thing to use the roof. But and I have no idea when you're going up there. It's not enough that I should be careful from you. Meaning in a chutzner, people know when people are in the yards. They say, okay, you know what? I want to go out and smoke a cigarette. I don't want my neighbor to see. But I know that he goes out to his chutzner here and there. But going on the roof, I have no idea when you're going up to your roof. You're not going up to your roof because it's not a normal thing to do. So Mamela, we have a problem. So therefore, that's also not a it's not a hezekriya thing. It's just more of a private thing, which again I don't understand so well, because Lamaisa, Isn't it a hezekriya? Right? Isn't that hezekriya? Isn't this whole assumption hezekriya? He says I can't do things betzina. Right? So, but why can't? So that means you're damaging me. Sounds like it's something that, again, he's saying it's something that I'm going to do in my yard is betzina. So memela, it's meaning what we're trying to differentiate, and it's a little bit of a fine point, is that if it's a normal use of a yard, so then, and you're going to prevent it, so then that would be a hezekriya. But if it's something that I normally would do bitzina, and that you're going to stop me from, so that's not hezekriya. That's just, I mean, in both cases, you would have to build up a fence. We were saying, but that's the hezekriya from the, I don't know, I hope I'm making sense. Meaning, this hezekriya was saying that we're not worried about. That's if you know that you're supposed to do things in a chutzner, you got somebody else doing things in his chutzner, that's all fine, right? But if it's tznius, that's not hezekriya. It's just you may be able to tell a guy if that you want to do something with tznius, but I have a right to be in my yard. That's fine. But if it's someplace where it's abnormal, and that's why sometimes he does tznius, meaning he sees his neighbor's not there. Oh, I can cop a cigarette right now, but he doesn't think in his head that the neighbor's on his roof watching. So therefore, then he can force his neighbor to put up a fence. Okay, we'll stop over there. I hope we made a little bit of sense. Continue it tomorrow. Okay, let's say the Tillim. Tillim Perik Yud Gimel. Lametzeach Mizmor LeDavid. Adon Anay Tishkecheni Netzach Adon Tastis Benechem Ibeni. Adon Ashitz Eises Benavshi Yogin B'Vavi Yomam Adon Yomam Oive Ele Habita Anini Adonai Elahai Hayira Einai Panishan Amachas. And Yomar Oive Yichol Tzor Yagilu Ki Amayt. Ani B'Chaslecha B'Tachti Yogel Libi B'Shuasecha Shira Ladonai Ki Gamal Aloi.